Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm up late, can't sleep. Mind just all over the place. Just thinking about, you know, the setup of it all, how the real true, how the real true story behind it all never came out. And it's mind blowing. I was looking at some of the comments that I had that I hadn't checked, and somebody has commented and said the CCs are looking for both of these Hunter interviews, and I'm thinking when I read that and I saw it, I'm thinking, why didn't the defense use those videos? Why didn't they use those videos? I mean, I know the defense saw them, but why did he not use those videos? And it just don't make sense. I understand it's the burden of the state for the reasonable doubt. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Shelly Shell. But why did he not use those videos of Hunter? Now, I understand that Hunter wasn't on trial, and I understand that the state would not use them. But why would the defense not use them? It's like people say, why didn't the defense not get the video that Frisco ISD has? Because see, that video that he showed wasn't even from the ISD. It was way over there from something else from a far, far distance. So I understand why the state didn't, but why didn't the defense? There are so many things that the defense could have obtained and used, and I'm just, why did he not? So as I was thinking, I know the rumors about the scholarships and everything, but when I start thinking and making shit make sense, and I saw well, Eddie, the friend. I'm up here saying, I'm hearing what people saying that it was the whole setup. And then I was looking over some comments or a post that said that Karmelo was called over to their side. So, and on top of that, they never even changed the narrative of it being about the 10th versus it being about football. Why didn't the defense put that out there? Why didn't the defense clear that up? Why did you roll with it's about the tent and he wasn't invited, and when asked to leave 15 times, like, so then I'm thinking about Eddie. When I when I hear he was called over, he was called to the tent. And I'm just wondering, to have this roast about football. Let's talk about football. The stats and the numbers and stuff. So when I saw people saying that he was set up by Eddie, now I'm looking at it a little different, because when I think about the 4 to 5 people, it's like, how did I know it was already staged. Half of the people wasn't even paying attention. I get that. So he lured him. I'm sure maybe he had been bragging about, Centennial versus Memorial, on the field, off the field. He lured him there to talk about football. So I said it's not about the tent, it's about football. Because it was football players who was jumping him, right? And it was his partner Eddie who recorded it. So, with that being said, and the coach had already said how sorry the football team was, here come Melo talking about football over on they side, and he was lured by Eddie, who then tried to act like he didn't know him like that. So, in essence, they was protecting. I'm talking about the judge. I'm talking about the football team, Memorial High School, and Austin. I don't think they wanted it to change it from the tent to football, because it would have brought suspicion to the whole football team, plus the coach who wasn't where he was supposed to be. That would take Frisco down big time. So you got these boys up here that play football, because 9 times out of 10, they all, Hunter, Jose, or was it Jose who told the truth? I'm not sure. Jose is the one who told him to sit down, Nick. Can I sit here? And he said yes. So everybody except Jose will really be in trouble. So it wasn't just about Austin, it was about Memorial High School altogether. So all the kids other than Jose lied. One, because they didn't want to be implemented in an assault. All right. The cover up and the setup. The Metcalfs are happy because they're getting justice for their son and protecting Hunter and all the rest of the boys that took part in it. I am really hoping and praying. I think the only thing right now that I can think of that could save Karmelo from the 35 years is that real video that you could clearly see get leaked. If somebody leaks the original video, not necessarily the original, but the more revealing Frisco ISD property, the video that's in their property, or if somebody who was on the field recorded it, because I I distinctly remember them saying there are several recordings, and that's why a year or so ago the school, Memorial High School, prohibited anybody with video to play it or share it, or they would not walk with their class. I don't know if other people remember that, but that's what happens when I can't go to sleep. My mind starts remembering things. So I'm finna listen. I'm gonna try to listen to this, and then I want to hear what. Yeah, let me go to Neek at night. Let me go to her, cause she talked about Eddie's Eddie's testimony, and I don't know if she breaks it down, but she remembered or discovered some information, and she wanted to talk about it late tonight. Okay, so let's check it out, and then I want to hear what the real street life. Do I need to hear the attorney first? Or me? Hey Lola, or Lala. Child, I'm so sleepy that ain't even funny, but I couldn't go to sleep. So let's hear real life street stars attorney Larry Taylor, and then I'm gonna go to hear about Eddie. Hi Timothy, good morning.
With another one, we have him back in the building. The distinguished Larry Taylor of the Cochran Law Firm. How's it going?
Hey man, it's going great. What's up, real life family? I hope you enjoyed this particular podcast, man, because I have some good information I think you guys will be able to use and take with you.
Definitely. And once again, thank you for coming back in and always speaking with us and giving us a good legal game that we need. But I want to start this conversation off with this, man. You are right now handling active cases more so in the civil matter of things. Of course, you did criminal, you're beyond that. But I want to ask you, this question is just strictly for you, Larry. At what point did, where your morals come into play as far as when you're having to take on a case and it's questioning your moral fortitude as far as you don't believe in the case as much as you did maybe going in, you didn't have the information, the insight, and when you start learning things, morally you feel like this isn't even a battle I want to put my heart into.
You know what? Let me say this, man. I don't really have that swing in that regard, because my thing is, once my client hires me for a job and I see the job, I work for you, right? I'm your Lancelot. I'm going to do what's needed in order to achieve the goals that you set forth. Now, sometimes I disagree with my clients on the necessary outcomes. And this is the importance of hiring an attorney who has experience.
Man, but what if the attorney was a part of the setup too? Who hired him? Where did he come from? I can't process that he did not secure the video, a clear video. How could he not? Now I do know I looked for Hunter, and there was some not found stuff going on. Not found, not found. And I was saying that they had scrubbed the internet of Hunter. You could see pictures of him. but you really couldn't see. When you clicked on the picture to get to the source, it would say not found. I mean, on each and every one of them. But the very next day, they popped up. So I don't know if, I don't know. I just don't understand why he didn't use the video. Was it intentional? Even though it was the state duty to present the in your cross, and I know Hunter won't understand. I don't get it. I don't even get why he thought. Now my attorney friend, he said Karmelo has to get on the stand. He has to get on the stand. And I remember being on somebody's platform, and they were saying, "Nah, I don't think he needs to get on there. I don't think he needed to get on there." But they were afraid of the cross examination. God dang. They needed to hear. But the problem with that is them roasting with football and him talking shit about y'all sorry. I think Eddie knew that. I think he lured him to come over there and talk about the team, the school, the football team being sorry. And they sacrificed this, and I don't like using sacrifice. Even his defense attorney, if he lives in Frisco, if he's a part of that far north Dallas, McKinney, Allen, all of that out that way, whichever falls up under Collin County, if he is from those areas, then they sacrifice, including him, the defense attorney, his client, for Frisco, for all of the boys, the school, the coaches. So now the coach will be able to keep his job. He did, the defense attorney, he cut the boys down, but he didn't go hard in the paint for Carmelo Anthony. He just didn't. I feel like hell, I could have went harder in the paint than he did. He didn't go hard in the paint. I don't know if he didn't anticipate the whole damn linebackers, you know, defense, whatever them big old boy numbers are, big old body boys. I don't know if he underestimated the squad coming in line. I don't know. I just don't understand why he didn't use or find a way to be able to get that implemented. I don't know if the judge who should have recused himself, I don't know if he denied him that opportunity. I don't know. Yeah, he needed to take the stand. And I know it said it was Carmelo. Oh my God. It's just, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. But anyway, let me hear this guy so I can get to.
Right? A lot of people say, well, you're just not looking out for me. You just know. I talked over a year ago on this podcast about attorneys who are seasoned, understanding the jury pool,
inadmissible,
the
and the
time of year.
defense didn't
For
argue it.
example, I had, when I did criminal, I
I would
had
like to
a
see the
domestic violence
courtroom
case.
transcript
It was
to
clearly
see
a
if
case in which my client should have been acquitted.
for
The DJ
any
should have dismissed the
motions
case, but they
filed
didn't.
for anything.
But the trial was
I think
set
there
a
was, and
month
the judge denied them. I don't know what they
after
were though.
Domestic Violence Month. I moved the
He
date.
absolutely
My
moved
client
it.
was like, why? I got work. I said, look, we can't do that case during this time period because
Timothy.
the,
Yeah.
the,
He said he got some
the
information that
atmosphere,
we can take with us, and then after I hear this, then I'll
the
go over
atmosphere is such
to
that
oh girl.
these courts, these juries
Yeah.
have been hearing for a month about domestic violence, and
But
so
it
now
was
they're
the
more
cross
susceptible to
examination
believe that every case
that they
is
felt like he would
a
turn him up.
guaranteed guilty
They
for
felt
domestic violence.
they said, I think I heard him say that the state cross when they cross examine, they're brutal and will manipulate. See, this is why I'm thinking that it's a cover up, not just for for Austin, but for the school as well. Those guys, when they say it's about 4 or 5, even Hunter, when he did his little interview, he said me, my brother, and a few other guys, and a few others. So it was definitely more than just them. Plus, it was Eddie, and it was a shit show. And to bring them up, or if it would have went right, they all could have been brought up on charges. Who went along with this little scheme or this little plot or this little rise up against Centennial. So I'm really trying to understand why they didn't even want. I understand why they didn't want the truth come out. I understand why the state played the hand. I just think that the defense got played. Either the defense got played, or he's involved in the cover up. Does that make sense? Either he involved, or he sacrificed the black guy for Memorial High School and the teachers. Because the coach was supposed to be there, and he wasn't. And none of the guys was brought up on any charges. Not even Hunter. And Hunter initiated it. So that video that they don't want us to see, all of it. It's just been a whole cover up play. And right now I'm beginning to believe, including the defense attorney. That's how I'm feeling right now. Because I know good and dang well he shouldn't have operated off of that grimy shit. And if they would have they wouldn't have got that 4K video to try to better enhance that still same grimy, but there is a better picture, video, footage that he should have got his team to obtain it by court order. Well, if the courts are involved in the cover up, then that's why it got to leak. It has to leak. That video has to leak. I know it's the Frisco ISD guy. I mean, because once they start pulling this and pulling that, trying to further expose him, to discredit him. See, they only do that type of, oh, he got this case and he got this, he's a this and he's a that. You know, they do that to shut you up, to embarrass you. You know, that making America great again, which is making America slaves again. So you know, free labor. They're finna get free labor out of Carmelo Anthony. So it just kind of puts me in mind of back in the day when the slave trade, you know, oh man, when the slave trade was what it was, and they put you up for sale for you to work for free labor. That's how I'm feeling right now. Let me hear him out.
So that comes into your mindset as far as
All of that
the
comes.
awareness of domestic violence that month. Is that a reason to move a case? Well, can you move it for that, or do you have to give another motion and you got to come up with something else?
I mean, you can argue. Usually, the courts will give you one continuance, um, but it's important that. Hold on one second. Pause real quick.
Okay.
Did I pause it? Yeah, I paused. I'm sorry. Oh, I did.
I will. I'll take care of that.
The moment I saw Relay and what it was capable of is the moment that I knew it was something good. The traditional bank model.
All right, so I hope we're still running because that shows you my commitment to real life.
There you go. No, exactly.
Right.
That man worked.
So at the same time, I'm defending justice and in dealing with trying to shape to ensure that people of color have the right to go to court.
Yeah.
Right, and they have the resources to go to court. I'm on real life at the same time.
Wait, are you always on the clock? Like, are you always on the clock?
I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
5 in the morning, phone call. You get active.
So my typical day starts off with me waking up around 5 o'clock, 5:30. I usually go to bed around 1 a.m. And so I usually try to get 4 hours of sleep. My first call is usually around 6:30 to 7, depending on if it's someone from the East Coast or someone from overseas. Usually that's one of the AI companies that I've invested in or something dealing with one of the organizations I'm involved in. And then it goes to casework, dealing with lawyers that I have cases with across the country. And then from there, we consistently move on dealing with my day, business, dealing with my staff, dealing with, other officers. And then my last call is usually with the West Coast lawyers, probably around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm either in court or on conference calls from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, I've seen someone call you in the wee hours of the morning about, hey, a little situation, and I've seen you respond immediately, which is a testament. That's amazing.
Hey, amazing. Man, look. I'm going to say this, and this is not the regular podcast, but the PR moment, right? I'm a lawyer of color. Many of you guys have already said it. I wear bow ties. I have cornrows. I let my hair down. And you're right. I don't look like every other lawyer. I'm not an Obama lawyer. But the work that I put in garnishes the respect from my peers. You can pretty much Google or ask any lawyer to look me up or ask another lawyer about me, and they're going to say the same thing. That if you deal with me, I am going to do it right. I'm going to dot all my I's, cross my T's, and I bring a little of the community into the legal field, right? Who knows better than our community how to make something work that shouldn't work. We were probably the first person that created a spare by putting a 10-speed bicycle tire onto a car, right? That's the kind of innovation that we have, and that's the kind of innovation that I bring to the law within the parameters, and sometimes stretching it, trying to change it. I'm one of the only lawyers. I just had a conversation with the young woman who tried the Bolton John case.
Yes.
Right? Had a talk with her, and she was amazed. My firm was one of the first firms in almost 50 years to get a police officer convicted of a 1983 or civil rights violation, and was able to make sure that our client was compensated at a number that was higher than most. That's what I do. I work the system as they have put out. I like to think of myself as the Shaquille O'Neal or the Tiger Woods. Is that the rules are what they are? Just because I'm using your rules and doing good, don't change the rules on me. Just let me be great.
Let me get your take, because I mean, you mentioned some things, and I got to speak on the Botham John case. Amber Geiger, she's set to be released in September of 2029, so technically in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have a street in here in Dallas named after Botham John after that event happened. What are your thoughts if she was to, of course, come home and then move back into the Southside Flats, right back on Botham John? What does that say about the legal system? Do you feel any foul play?
Brother, you can't keep someone from living somewhere. Now, I know the building owners or owner. There could be an exception because she could bring a sense of danger, even though it's right across from the police station. That could bring some potential violence, and she may be asked to seek residence somewhere else. But no one can really tell her where she can and cannot live unless it's going to affect the majority of the community. And so,
if she did get told you can't stay here, and then she sought legal guidance, would you or your firm take on that case?
nah, man. Nah, bro.
Like, how do you pick and choose? Like, some of you, like, why wouldn't you take it? If she's like, I'm offering top dollar, and I need someone of the people to represent me in this situation.
That's not my fight. That's no. I mean,
so go.
She's trying to. So I really like, even though it's somewhat constitutional, but they have actual plausible reasons why they don't want to rent to her, right?
Cause she went to
Matter of
somebody's
fact,
apartment.
she's actually committed a felony in that building. And in most apartment complexes, multi-living complexes, if you have a felony, a violent felony, you can't live there. So they have legal grounds to do that. If I was to take a case like that, I would be clout chasing, right? I would be trying to be on ABC or CBS or something of that nature. Hey, what I do, right? I'm a real life lawyer, so I'm on real life, and so I want to talk to the communities that I think deserve to have someone who looks like them that can also educate and provide good guidance and not necessarily want something in return.
And speaking of that, as far as looking like them, we had before her election, Amber Givens up here, who she of course beat out. I forget his name, but she won as far as the DA of the district, Dallas. So how does that look when you have someone of the same color to understand what goes on from where you're from, being a district attorney in a city like Dallas?
Let me just start off by saying this. I'm going to get slack. All skin folk ain't kin folk, and that's not directed toward Amber. It's really directed to some other folks who look like us, but quite honestly, the judge who didn't look like us was so much better for us. If you ever see me advocate and stand up and speak on someone who doesn't look like me, but let me just reel that back. Whoever I advocate for, know that I am justified in doing so simply because they're good for.
Please hit the like button.
They're someone that I know regardless, if someone who looks like me goes before them, they're going to have the best chance at getting their voice heard. You might not always win, but the thing is, can you get your voice heard? And that's what's really important, is having access to the courts to be able to have your voice heard.
Character before color. I agree. I agree. So back to the original question. Things that morally you feel like, again, on the criminal side or the civil side, something as simple as, hey, this happened to me, I need you to represent me. Here's a deposit. And you find out that your client has told untruths or kept out information that is making it harder for you to fight for them. Like you said, once you're hired, you're fighting for them. But if it does come to where, like, they outright lied or outright just made it a moral thing for you, like, wow, I started off believing in you, because I'm sure you actually have to start off believing in the case that you could win it. If they're purposely holding stuff to help you lose this case, do you still stay to fight even though the deposit's already there? You're good to go. Do you figure out a way to win, or do you say, like, hey, you didn't come forward with this information and now we gotta kind of part ways?
So I'm gonna hit you twofold. Most of the cases that I take now are contingency cases. That means that we work those cases at no charge unless we win. We only get paid if we get money for you. If we don't get you any money, it doesn't. I've spent $500,000 on a case, and we ended up potentially getting dismissed. You don't have to pay for that $500,000 back. That's money that I spent to make sure that we had our best position to win. And if we don't win, you don't owe anything. And so I only get paid if you get paid. So the deposit thing doesn't really happen unless it's a criminal case or something of that nature, because those are cases that don't involve money. As far as clients being truthful, man, that's a must for me, right? Because number one, it's my reputation. I'm not going before court and tell lies or go toward opposing counsel and lie. That whole liar lawyer thing, man, leave that somewhere else, right? That's not my cup to hold, because I enjoy when I tell opposing counsel, when I tell somebody I'm gonna whoop your ass, and I got what it takes to whoop your ass, they know they can take that to the bank.
Whoop is coming.
Right? I had a murder case, and it involved the murder of a dope dealer, and they were charging my client, and the situation was such that they said that my client basically was trying to rob the dope dealer. Wasn't the case. I had facts to that, right? And I'm like, if you push forward with this, I am going to embarrass the hell out of the state. This ain't what you want to do.
Wait, what?
Right? Now, I'm going to whoop your ass, and I got what it takes to whoop your ass. Opposing counsel and lie. That whole liar lawyer thing, man, leave that somewhere else, right? That's not my cup to hold, because I enjoy when I tell opposing counsel, when I tell somebody I'm gonna whoop your ass, and I got what it takes to whoop your ass, they know they can take that to the bank.
Whoop is coming.
Right? I had a murder case, and it involved the murder of a dope dealer, and they were charging my client, and the situation was such that they said that my client basically was trying to rob the dope dealer. Wasn't the case. I had facts to that, right? And I'm like, if you push forward with this, I am going to embarrass the hell out of the state. This ain't what you want to do, right? Now, did the situation go bad? Is my client have some responsibility in the death of this person? Yeah, but it ain't what you saying. And so consequently, we ended up getting a very, 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 very good deal for my client. It was one of the odd situations where my client didn't even really want me to do anything. He just wanted me to be there as he played. And so, because he was a good kid, man. and he just was feeling real bad about it. And it was, but I just couldn't in good conscience let him just jump on a sword without any kind of protections or any kind of mercy. And so I fought in order to do that. But just don't lie to me, because if you lie to me and I get to a position where I may have potentially put this out in the atmosphere, or now
Hey,
I don't know
Gaelic.
what's the truth.
Hey,
I'm not going to
God's
put you on the
child.
stand to lie. I'm not going to lie because that's my bar
Hey,
card,
Blaine.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I
I
missed
can
y'all. Hey,
lie to win you
Reflections.
$100,000 in which I get
Hey,
$30,000.
NASCAR. Hey.
Is that worth a 20-year career? Is that worth me
Okay.
not making any more money as a
Hey,
lawyer for the rest of my
Southeast.
life
I
for
done
your
missed all y'all.
$30,000? It's not that
Hey,
crucial.
Kingdom, come on.
Come on. All right. Well, I want to speak on both ends of that as far as what is a good deal.
So I got a question. In the legal system, now we all know that we're dealing with a president that have more felony than he probably have tennis shoes in his closet. So for the common man that's out here with felonies and stuff that can't get a job because on the application it says, do you or do you not have a felony?
Could you use up to $800?
Y'all,
Find it
can
at
anybody
BioLife. Up to
explain to me the
$800 is
math?
waiting for you. Just donate plasma, get
I
paid
mean,
for.
I know how I think, and I think a little different than a
So
lot of people.
is there a fight?
But what is the mathematics of this 18-year-old young man gets 35 years for defending himself? Amber Geiger gets 10 years for Botham John, and Roy Oliver gets 15 years for the 15-year-old kid. How's that math? Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, because they were tried in Dallas County, and he was tried in Collin County. Hey, Room Shaker, I can't sleep, and my eyes are so red, but I can't sleep. So let's not teach the police who unalive black people. There's no point. There's nothing, no, nothing that you have to prove a point. Cause Dallas County is a lot of blacks, and Collin County, we don't want y'all niggas over here. And how dare you unalive one of our MAGO? Because you got the judge and the DA and the daddy. So he in there. Metcalf in there. Dallas County ain't shit compared to them. And they needed a token. They needed a token. Frisco needed a scandal because Frisco is MAGA. It's Trump. It's making America great again. It's the good old boys. It's the pride. And I think about when old boy, the one that 88 got into it with the Lane, Jake Lane. When this happened last year, he got on a rig. He got on top of a rig with a bullhorn promoting division, and people really believe when Metcalf Daddy came out there trying to talk. All of that shit just, to me, all of it was just staged. It's almost like it was a movie setting. You know, he got up on there and on the rig and was bull. You know, that these black people are taking over. We're having to sit in the back of the bus. You know, all this type of. And then he had a big black token, big black cornbread fed ass cowboy boots and hat type dude standing behind him, you know. All of this shit just seems staged. Frisco needed a scandal to prepare for one, because the election is midterms and they was turning. So if all of these counties and seats is turning blue, turning blue. They just stay red. They just solidified. We red. We Trump. And then all the little the manipulations, the flipping the script, you know, everything. The cornbread fed ass white chocolate hoodlum thugs. They put that on Karmelo and then made them seem innocent, law abiding, you know. Why didn't, oh man, cause Hunter never took the stage. It's blowing my mind because everything that he needed to get him off, he couldn't present it because it would have had to be by the way of Hunter. And he didn't take the stand. And it irritated me to no end that they started calling them by the last name. Why you can't say Karmelo? Why you So when you started talking about the Metcalf boys and they twins, some of what Hunter did, they put it all on Austin intentionally. So the initiating was in the video. It didn't appear that way in court, nor it's going to be in the transcripts because they mixed their position and made it. It put it all on Austin, the one that's no longer here, to save the football team and Hunter and the coach. Yeah, this is fucked up, man. Let me go on. Let hear. I'm trying to see what he
For the
goes.
situation of the common man getting back his rights, if we got a president with multiple felonies, or his gun rights, or getting a good standing job in the community.
There is a fight.
I hear you say
And
that.
I'm gonna look.
Okay, so NASCAR, you say, but Melo gonna be okay. He gonna be granted an appeal, and he's a good kid. I believe. I hope that. But to be honest, this is the. I don't even know if I want to deal with even Mo3. I don't know if I want to deal with that because I don't. I don't want to deal with the disappointment. I don't want to deal with the disappointment because we have a president in place right now until they get his funky face ass up out of here. Everything, everything that we have overcame and moved forward and rise, he's trying to strip us of that. He's trying to strip us of every step. Every time we rise, they trying to strip us. And hell, we done rose so high up. That's why that man was on that bullhorn last year saying, we're now having to sit at the back. They're taking our jobs. They are becoming, we was royal when we got here, little funny looking boy. You got child great charges. You've been put in prison more than once, and your big daddy pardoned your ass out. maybe NASCAR, but how many years will? Yeah, how long is that gonna take? It's just I just see Trump all over in his ways and the way he lied and put his truths on someone else, and then make them look bad. When I just listen to the news right now of them saying all they are doing is repeating all the lies and they know that they're doing it. It was almost perfect. That's why it's looking more of a sacrifice to me. The way they maneuvered, it's just a big cover up. And these are going to same attorneys that's going to be in the Mo 3 case. So who really needs justice? Hell, I don't know if they're going to get it. Maybe it'll be different since it's black on black crime, but these are the same attorneys. I just, Dr. Dolph, Karmelo, and I don't know if I'll be able to, I don't know how I would really feel about Mo 3 if he don't get the right justice. But let me hear this guy so I can hear.
Right into the camera when I say this. For all of you young folks, or my brothers and sisters in the community who say that he reminds you of Scarface and you like his bravado, understand that it's a systematic program to keep you from ever getting out of that. I used to actually minister at the prisons, right? Right now, I'm part of an organization called We People, which is a program to develop businesses for formerly incarcerated so that they can be business owners and have a future.
That's why
A large part of that is going to have to do with our community and making sure that we go back and we put our arms around these brothers and sisters to provide spaces for them outside
and I don't like that we don't see where they have set it up for us to.
You have to vote because right
Sometimes
now
we fall for
the
their
court
bait.
systems and the laws prohibit that. And in order for that to change, we need to.
Hold on. And this is why I stress detoxing the parasites out of your body. I mean, and it's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing. I detox every day. I do something or take something to detox the parasites out of our bodies because the cocktail that they put in the arm that they say your especially back in the day, every kid had to have a vaccination. They had to get them series of shots. And then these kids become artistic after it. They get mild ADHD. Those. Now I'm coming to understand that it was planted on purpose. The red coloring, the kids have behavioral problems. Little candies, the Skittles, the teachers used to give the M&Ms in class for the good kids. All of this stuff has been introduced, knowing that it would lead to parasites. The meat that we eat now, hell, shit, it ain't even real meat no more. It's steady being toxins, and these toxins with these scientists and chemists that have went missing for whatever reason. Whoever knows the truth, because all of a sudden, somebody started leaking to detox your body, deworm. Would that we wasn't hearing that as rapid as we are now in the exposure of McDonald's, the Flesh, the Wendy's, the Chick-fil-A, all of these places that we have now become accustomed to wanting and desiring. This is how they continue to put the MK Ultra, the mind manipulation. A lot of that stuff is mind manipulation, and it have us so brainwashed, is so conditioned that they can Tell us the truth. If we don't even recognize it, we don't see people who trying to hurt us. We think they still are in our favor. That's why I say detox. Every time I turn around, every day you need to take something to detox. We have been walking around with these parasites, which is eating us up, keeping us sick, making us sick, and they're feeding it every day. So every day we eat something that we don't know that's been all to hell. I had a salad today, and I'm like, "Oh, girl, now you know you ain't been eating salads and stuff like that, and you know that they are putting that shot that that COVID stuff in food, lettuce, tomatoes. They're figuring out ways to manipulate the food. They're talking about strawberries is full of it, and I'm over here eating yogurt and chia seeds, trying to get these toxins out. And hell, they done found other little ways to continue to poison you and poison your mind and the way you're thinking. So those parasites make us ignorant. I said all of that to say, although it is making you sick on the inside, arthritis, inflammation, autoimmune, dementia for elderly, it also is a mind trigger to keep us acting ignorant and stupid, where we don't have no self-control. We just all over the place. That's why I push detoxing every day, because they're trying to take control of your mind, and they have for years. This is the first time really that we're able to see things clearly that we've never been able to see clear before. Detox your body, because they have it where it'll make you trigger. Like what's the little dark skinned guy with the big eyes, and he just act like he just can't get it together. I can't think of his name. His hair used to be all over his head. He was in the middle of what is that guy name? Uh, Kodak Black. Kodak Black. They are even putting toxins in tobacco, in the cigarettes. It's just mind blowing. So everything that we like, they have put cocktails, and it's full of parasites. And don't have a dog. I'm getting off, but it's just the way we think and how we moving. These triggers. It's like what's going on with this generation? They act like they can't get it. They're full of parasites. So detox your kids. And it ain't about taste. It's about becoming unconditioned. They want to condition us. Back to the days, y'all. Come on. Back to the making America slaves again. And I don't think that you young folk understand that. I don't think y'all understand that. I feel like Karmelo was put on the slave block. And them good old boys say, okay, we got a good one. He's fast now. He's fast. We gotta butt break him. We gotta do this. I feel like that's what's happening now. I think all of that is part of Trump's new world order. We gotta stay woke, y'all. Let me finish him. I'm trying to get to where he's talking about the all white jury
in our administration and put people in office. That might be something that if you don't know any.
As far as what is a good deal, I'm gonna ask you on the civil side and also on the criminal side. Let's start with the criminal side because you just spoke on the situation.
now. Big L, Auntie Fee need to be honest. I take a lot of stuff. I take a lot of different stuff. I take a lot of different stuff. And I do that because if I think about how old I am, since y'all call me old, and just the thought of them being in my body, and I've seen them come out. So, and I'm a pescatarian. So what I like, the food, the protein that I eat is out of the water, and so I have to be double concerned with fish and salmon. So right, so I I do clove water. I do pumpkin seeds. I get that worm, that concoction where it. Oh, let me show you right quick. This I'm trying this right now. Let me show you. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying something new. I'm trying to see what works best. Okay, so when I first started detoxing, you first have to detox. You have to find a. I'm 54 shit. Okay, okay. My snack when I want a snack is pumpkin seeds. But if you take pumpkin seeds, a handful every morning on the empty stomach, try to take this down. I take a handful of a fistful of raw pumpkin seeds every morning on an empty stomach. Okay. When I first started, I started with let me see, the binder, the binder to prepare for the parasites to flow out. Go in there and get them out your walls. That, oh man, it's just nasty. So that once you start the cleanse, can you see that? Now before, when I first did it, I did the drops in the water. So this time around, I got the pills. I'm trying to see which one works best. If the capsules work as good as the drops, so you need a binder. So once you start detoxing, it'll grab them, and you start seeing them in your toilet. This go around, instead of getting the drops for the binder, I'm using charcoal from the same family of the Paragard. Extra strength. And in here, these are the herbs. Can y'all see that? The herbs that are in it. So I do this every day, but start with the binder, and this time I'm going with the charcoal. If you don't take natural supplements, I recommend. Oh man, y'all can't see that. Anyway, it has a lot of the herbs in it. Can y'all see that? Something like this that have all the. Let me see. Where this phone? Let me see the light. Come to the light, Caroline. Come to the light. Let me get some light right here, girl. Why you tripping? I'm up here tripping. That's sea moss, black sea oil, ashwagandha, and ginger. And then it has a flute of a lot of all-in-ones on here. Something like this is what we need on the daily if you don't take vitamins and stuff. But these are natural herbs from God. Okay? So this is my detox. Snap a picture. Snap a picture. Snap a picture. Snap a picture. This is another good binder. Snap a picture. This is what I used the first time. I saw very good results off of this. I'm not going to even lie. But I think it was Room Shaker who made mention of charcoal. And I saw some advertisement or some info about it. I said, well, let me try to see which one is best. And then this one. And my snacks, pumpkin seeds. First handful in the morning. And then I make a warm water. I put some cloves in them. You can put a clove in your mouth, and go to sleep with one on each side, and bite down on it a little bit, and it release. They really say that the clove water is the best. I don't know. So when I say I do a lot, I do a lot. Because I eat fish and hell, I ain't never just detox before, so ain't no telling what's in me. And they got some really bad one. And with the New World Order, they just come up with is it screw worm? Y'all need to research screw worm. I don't know why I can't say screw worm. I don't know. It don't sound like it. But it's a New World Order, so it's a new parasite. And it's coming by way of beef. Okay? Research screw worm. They have created a new world order parasite. Man, this is crazy. How they keep doing this to either eat you up on the inside, to depopulate, or alter your mind. Let me Google it for y'all right quick, since y'all may be thinking Auntie Feet tripping. Okay. Screw you. And it's in Texas. New World screwworm fly is a parasite insect whose larva infests. What did it say? Don't go away. In cattle. Hold on. It's a screwworm in cattle. A screwworm in humans. Y'all, they creating this shit. It's a parasite. Why is this deleting? Let me finish this and let me get back. Screwworm in humans. It look like a maggot that feeds on living flesh of warm-blooded animals and humans. Y'all look at the this thing had look like they have eyes and teeth. This is created for the New World Order. Do y'all see it? So it's flesh eating. It's flesh eating. This is some nasty shit that they have intentionally created. Man, let me get off of that. Oh man, oh that's nasty. What happens is if a human gets a screwworm, ears, nose, eyes, and then it hatches. That's why y'all gotta detox every day. They are creating shit to eat us up, and they got teeth. Okay, let me finish, man. This is it's too much for me. What was I on? Okay, let's go.
With a client you had. For you, what is a good deal when it comes to a plea? Meaning, what are they facing in years versus what they're offering versus the age of the client versus
It
what you
sounds like
take.
he trying to ask about
doing what they need them to do. It's big business. If you don't believe me, Google it, right? You guys, you just said the internet. Google prison industry, prison businesses. And so I personally won't invest in any mutual fund that has shares within the prison industry.
I appreciate that. Let me ask you, as far as what is a good deal? I'm gonna ask you on the civil side and also on the criminal side. Let's start with the criminal side because you just spoke on the situation with a client you had. For you, what is a good deal when it comes to a plea? Meaning, what are they facing in years versus what they're offering versus the age of the client versus can you win the case or not? What is a
Hey,
good
Purple
deal in
Flower.
your thoughts as far as we should take this?
So a good deal looks at several different factors. Number one, we got to look at the evidence that's available for everybody, right? On the criminal side, you got to look at the evidence that the prosecution has that shows that your client did it. So if, give me an example, let's
Whatever.
talk about murder because that's kind of capital murder, that's the highest level. Someone commits capital murder, you got it on videotape, them shooting that person, clear, see their face, and it meets all the elements necessary to meet capital murder, and they're looking at the death penalty. Some good deals might be life in prison. Some good deals might be 50 years in prison. But anything short of putting that person to death is considered a good deal, right? Because it's better than the alternative. Anytime that you, what we call it, whether it's civil or criminal, anytime that you beat the offer, then you've gotten a good deal or you've done what you needed to do.
So someone facing 25
to life.
Let's just say, I don't want to say 25 life. Let's say they're facing 10 to 20 years. Or let's just say 20 to 30 years. This is what's on the table. 20, 30 years, this is what you're facing. This is what we want. They come back and say, hey, we'll give you 15. Are you immediately like, hey, that's half of the 30 max that they could give you. We should take it. Like, what do you start feeling where you're like, no, before you even go to your client, like, I'm not even feeling that.
It just depends on the evidence and what you have. Sometimes, the state might have evidence. I might have an ace in my back pocket. Similar to the case that I talked about earlier. I had an ace in my back pocket that, as a defense attorney, I get to decide when I show my evidence or if I show my evidence, right? And so I had that draw for and that big joker just waiting on them, saying, okay, if this is what we're gonna do. And so now I'm looking at, can I set them?
You think you're fine after a car accident until this happens. Most people don't realize that even accidents that
Right? Or am I just gonna run to Boston? What are my options and when should I play it? Right? And
Does it come off as a win?
yeah,
If the client takes a plea,
yeah.
the lawyers look at that as we didn't go, we skipped trial.
No, brother. I'll never look at it as we skip trial. The thing is, anytime you put 6 to 12 people in that box, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
But
It's not the same.
so
6
what's
people. It's not the
happening
same
now
12
with that?
people.
They
You
are
don't know.
hand selecting those people that they want in those boxes. Now they come and they appear, they tell I need for you to be, here on this day, and if 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 you get about 6 people to come and appear for jury duty, whether they was really called or not, right? And they go through the process, the questions, I'm sure somebody has instructed them how to get past, you know, and make it. If a couple of them get struck and they are able to keep 2 or 3 of them, then the jury is already tainted with more than one. So it's going to always throw it off in their favor. So everybody that's there didn't go through the regular process of getting the call or the letter in the mail, right, saying you've been chosen for jury duty. Some of them are just be here, go through the process. I'll get you through. I may lose 1 or 2 of you, but I will get the majority of y'all. I will select y'all. That's what's going on now, y'all. That's also part of the rig. That's why I'm saying he was sacrificed. Does that make sense to anybody? You 38 people that's listening, whatever. Yeah, that's what's going on now. So even that is rigged. All of it is rigged. Yeah.
It is Forrest Gump at its best. It is a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get in there. You can get, my wife's a judge. For the first time, she had a jury that was all Hispanic females.
Oh, wow.
Just so happened.
Oh, wait. All Hispanic females?
All Hispanic females made the jury.
When do y'all get to pick who the jury? Because I know it's like a jury pool that the defense and the prosecutor get to kind of, we don't like this, we don't like that.
You don't get to pick your jury. So this is what happens, right? So imagine getting 30 people, 1 through 30. Let's say you can only take 6 individuals, right? You're only getting 6. Let's say that both sides get to say no to 2 people each. So what does that tell you? That tells you that basically, unless one of those other people say something that automatically gets them off of that jury, the people who are going to be in your jury pool are those first 10.
But if they tell you what to say, that's what I'm saying. But if they tell you what to say and how to say it, it's like my attorney friend, stop saying what got was it? I don't know who it was. Was it Karmelo? I don't know. When they said they asked the guy whatever they asked him, and he said, "I don't know if I can send a brother to prison." He out of there. Instead of saying, "I can follow the instructions." We gotta talk ourselves. Sometimes we just talk too much. I mean, you know that you're supposed to be unbiased about it. So some people who don't really want to serve jury duty will sit up there and say something like, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do that." Get your ass in there, however you can get in there and make a difference. But they don't figure out how to ask us questions to make us get black on them. Shit, man, I don't wish prison on jail on nobody. We understand that. Just get in there, and you may be the one that stopped them from going to prison. We have to just change our mindset. It's like the Bible said of the renewing of the mind, because the devil got these folk in these White House and high places, and it's just bad out here. Renewing of the mind. It's just we have to undo what they have done, what they have planted, what they have fed. We have to do it total opposite. So the renewing of the mind is turning. We have to recognize the wicked ways of it all. You have to turn from the wicked ways. And it's so ironic how often they are poisoning us to be wicked. So when it talks about resist the devil and it will free, only way you can resist them is stop going to where you normally go to for them to feed that negative shit in you, and you have to go the opposite, because they have absolutely planted it in the food, in these fake ass cocktails and that they enforced, and they created a whole COVID to see if we're going to follow the instructions, or are we going to still do what they tell us to do. And we did it. And then they turn around and say, oh, we got a shot. Please take the shot. We need you to take the shot. We'll give you tickets to a game. We'll give you $100 and take the shot. You gotta take the shot. But before they had a way to make money off of it, and the fake whatever it was, they were saying natural herbs. You got to take elderberry. You got to do sea moss, moringa. They was telling you everything natural to take. That was the biggest wake up call for me ever, was COVID-19, and my doctor was telling me the natural supplements to take to build my immune system so that I would be able to survive this. And then as soon as they get a cocktail, then they turn back around and say, oh, okay, stop taking that. Yo, no, you don't need to take that. We got a shot. We got a cocktail we want you to try. And I'm like, are those natural herbs that has built my immune system, took some of this inflammation out? Not real. Well, what's in it? Well, I don't know. So you want me to put something that you don't know what it is in my arm, but you told me what natural herbs to take to build my immune system? What type of system? What? That don't make sense to me. Yeah, okay. Let's keep going. I'm like, shit.
That's your jury. Now, my job as a lawyer is, as I'm reading through and looking at them and asking questions, is it anyone in there that is so bad for my client that I need to get them taken off of the jury pool
Get to
based on
his
their
family.
responses without me having to say I don't want them?
He can
For
get
example,
a new trial, retrial.
if someone says, I believe everybody who commits
I believe that when I see
car
it.
burglaries should go to jail
Virgo
for 20
magic
years.
them old heads in the
Judge,
cell.
that's not the law. They can't follow the law. They out of here. So if someone can't follow the law, that's an automatic off the jury. And
He followed the law. He did everything right.
Last month, I caught my wife crying.
It's taking him too long to get to it. I'm gonna have to listen to him later.
We're basically roommates.
I want to hear what
now. So I
Auguste said
tried
before I
everything.
fall off to sleep.
Rhino 69.
It's taking him too long.
and where you located.
The system just sucked up. You got to get Trump out of there. I think he'll have a chance. I think he'll have an honest chance once we get Trump out of office. Because right now, I feel like all of it is corrupt. I just feel like they have just made a whole damn movie off of Carmelo Anthony situation. How long is this? Now, I'm going to play this, y'all. If I fall asleep, when it's over, just leave, okay? This is Eddie Para. And I don't know if you was trying to rush me. Let me get up here. Give God the glory channel. Get to his family. Are you trying to rush me? Please don't rush me. Don't do that. The setup guy.
meat and potatoes of it. You get what I'm saying? So with that disclaimer in mind, and my notes in hand, we're gonna go over everything. So his name is Eddie Parr, and his name is Edwin Parr, but he goes by Eddie. Now, for each of the people that were on the witness stand, I gave like a little description. For his description, because people were like, what does he look like? For his description, I put black boy slash mixed. But his mother was in the courtroom, and I was like, I said, his mama look Asian, but he look like a mixed black boy. You know, that's what he looks like. Now, if he's just like Pacific Islander, it's a possibility, but he had an afro. Like, his hair was in a mixed race texture, but it was an afro. And he was like a scrawny little, whatever. Anyways, so they start off by asking him background about himself. They wanted to know about him, and then they said, as it pertained to track, that day it was his third year on the track team. He knew Austin and Hunter. Him and Austin were close, and Austin was like a brother to him. He also knew Mello because he is the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of a family friend. Mello was somebody he knew, would say hi to, but he wasn't close with. Austin was his friend. Okay, so they made the distinction right away that his loyalty was with Austin. Okay, his loyalty was with Austin, and it was not with Mello, even though Mello has spent quite a significant amount of time around him. And I'm wondering, like, you have all of this loyalty, which is fine. Pick wherever you want to let the chips may be, whatever. But I wonder if you spent as much time as Carmelo Anthony spent in your home. Like, did the Metcalfs welcome you in their home? Now, I know that they put on a performance in the courtroom to make it look like, they strategically brung in black boys to be on their side, the back. Now, the little black young man that was in court, he was nice. So it's no shade to him. He was very nice. He was respectful. But I don't know. I just felt like it was just strategic.
Right.
Like, let's have some of his
Stage.
friends come in, but like, let's not make them all white. Let's, I don't know. Like, again, and it's no shade to the black boy that was in court. He was such a sweetheart. It's not like everything is some type of thing. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. So he tried to immediately off the bat, or the prosecution wanted to immediately off the bat establish that he don't really fuck with Mello like that. Like, I knew him, I wasn't that close to him, but Austin was close to me, and he was like a brother to me. He said since the murder, he noticed, let's see, so they wanted to know, like, before the stabbing, what happened. And he said that Mello had, he noticed Mello and dapped him up. And they wanted to know, like, where were you guys positioned at? Like, where were you seated? He said, towards the back of the tent. And what did you guys talk about? Like, did you talk about anything? He said, they just said hi to each other. That's it. He was trying to say, like, they had no conversation. They didn't talk. They just dapped, and he didn't really talk to him because he was trying to minimize
Right.
his relationship with Carmelo Anthony. And then they wanted to know, like, what was the vibe? What did you think about him being under your tent? He said it was weird. He was under their tent. He said it was weird that he was under their tent because everyone else went to their own tent. And they wanted to know, like, what did you call him? They said he called him Mello, and he said that he didn't talk that long. And then Austin entered the picture and said, who are you? Why are you here? And then they wanted to know, okay, well, so when Austin said that, what did Mello say? He said that he doesn't remember what Mello said. But Austin said, who are you? You got to get out of our
That
tent.
wasn't Austin. That was
Mello
Hunter.
got mad. He was told to get out. The way
That
he
was
talked
Hunter.
was mad a little bit. You got to move. And then I guess he said, Mello responded to Austin, you got to move me. You got to move me. Then um, he said, "You're not gonna move me. You're a bitch." Austin said the same thing. Okay, so he said they both were saying the same thing. Like he said, Melo said, "You're not gonna move me, bitch. You're a bitch." And then he said Austin said the same thing. And then he said Austin was getting defensive. And then they wanted to know like what type of person was Austin or whatever. And he said Austin always was leading and protecting us, defending us.
Us.
Then Melo says, "You're gonna have to move me."
See, that's what
Austin
I'm
did.
talking about. They never fully connected us with this is about football. This is not about the tent. It's about the football. The talking shit to, the Cowboys against the Eagles. The Cowboys ain't shit, man. They sorry as hell. That's it. That's it. Him and Eddie was supposed to be talking shit, and just so happened it's like, why was Hunter ear hustling? Just turn around and say he was talking reckless. Like he was talking football. That was supposed to be him and Eddie. But they never put that out there like that. They kept it because they didn't, you know why? Because they didn't want to expose the football team. They didn't want to expose the truth of what the reckless talk was about. See, when Hunter was sitting on them interviews saying he was talking reckless about football and the whole football, well, the linemen, the big boys, because the coach put the big boys to work too, because they were the ones who were sponsoring the track meet, and we was helping the girls because we were suspended, you know. Because see, that's what the real flow was about. He was invited up under the tent. So why is everybody still saying he came and sit up under the tent uninvited? So that's when I just, that part of it makes it seem like he is just such a big. They made him the big 20 for the next 10 years. He's gonna be the talk of Frisco, and it was all stage for the most part. That's fucked up. I can't get over it, man. Let's go.
Melo puts hands on his bag. Thought he was. Oh no, he said Melo put his hand in his bag, and they thought he was just trying to act tough.
So what happened to uh Austin grabbing the bag? Huh? So they don't skip that whole meat, that like a whole meat and potatoes in the middle. They just got the roll and the salad, but the meat and potatoes, they don't grab that and took that out, and all you got is a roll and the salad, and everything in the middle of that meal has been removed. The biggest portion of it has been removed. That just, and the defense attorney went with that. He went with that, and there's a video out, and he didn't use the video. But Hunter ain't on the stand. So y'all didn't see Austin jump up and come up 5 bleachers. And as he was talking shit, he was deciding 15 times I told you to leave. I ain't going to get nobody. 15 times I told you to leave. And when you stood your ground, he grabbed your bag and pushed it to you, chunked it at you. And you like, I'm still not going to leave. He didn't need, so, it's just, he didn't have the weapon on him until Austin grabbed his bag and gave it to him. And the defense attorney,
He said, well, we thought he was just trying to act tough because his hand was in his bag. And then they were like, well,
Ain't shit
like,
in it.
what did you think about him putting his, like, what did you think about that? And then he said that, did you expect for somebody to bring a knife to a track meet or something along those lines? And he said, we're at a track meet. I wouldn't expect him to have a knife at a track meet. And then they wanted to know, okay, so after that, like, what did Carmelo Anthony say? He said, touch me and you'll see, or touch me, then trying to provoke him.
No, when he said I kick your ass, nigga, that's when whatever he said about touch me. No, when he said, man, we cool long as you don't touch me. Yeah, he was responding when you grabbed his bag and gave him his weapon.
It says the way he was talking to Austin, you're gonna have to move me. Then Austin puts his hands on him. Then Austin fell back. He tried to move him
And
off his
bumped his
seat
head.
with a soft shove. Okay? So as he says that Austin was just trying to move him out of his seat with a soft shove. And then he started to get choked up. And then he says, like, he saw the stabbing happen. And then he started to cry on the stand. So immediately when he started crying, I looked to my left, and the Metcalf family, the mom, she just broke down and crying. Like, she's crying. Then, her boyfriend is like consoling her. It's this whole thing. The jury is watching all of this play out. And one of the jurors, I was looking at her, and I could tell, like, she felt sorry. I can't read her mind, but just her expression, like, she just looked like she felt sorry for um, the mom. Like, she kept looking over that way, and you could just tell, like, anytime they played the 911 call or showed the
Ain't
body
no such
cam or
thing as a
anything
soft
like
shove
that,
from a
like,
linebacker.
she was looking like she was fighting hard not to cry. Like, her face was, like, looking like she was crying, but it was no tears coming down, like, every single time. So I knew that was one of the
No
jurors
such
that
a
they
thing as a
lost.
soft shove.
Then there was a juror that was an older man. He sat in the front, like, in the very front row. It's like 3 seats all the way to the end. Anytime the defense would, like, question a witness or, like, try to present things, he would always give them, like, a smug look. Then there was two white boys that sat in the back. Like, a lot of people are saying different things about the jury, that some things are true, a lot are not. Number one, it was not an all white jury. They made sure to have people that were younger on the jury. Like, there were plenty of people on the jury that were young, and that's something that I reported, like, videos ago. Um, but there was two white boys, and you can tell. I was like, they just look like
They were playing it.
they are, like in my mind, like, they're not keeping an open mind. Like, I felt like they looked like like they saw themselves in Austin. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but when they were listening to the testimony, like, you could just look and you could just tell. That's why I was telling you, I was like, they just look like they could be. I'm like, they don't look like him. They don't look like they could be related to him, but they look like they could be in the same family, or they could be like. And then somebody was like, oh, like, they look like they could be his peers. I was like, yeah, like, they look like they can see themselves in Austin. That was the best way I could describe them. It was two young white males towards the back.
They was relatable.
And
They could relate
the rest of the jury, I could not really get a read. There was another older
to
white
being a
woman
bully.
who you could tell she was team, or not, well, I don't want to say teams, but she was very sympathetic to the victim. She always would look, like she was about to cry too. The other ones, like I said, it was hard to get a read on it, but I knew that as the evidence was coming in and how it was coming in, that it wasn't looking good. But I did not think that it was going to be murder one. I thought that it was going to definitely be manslaughter. Now, um, let's get back into the evidence. I mean, the presentation of his testimony that we saw. So, they wanted to know, like, if Hunter was a part of it, right? Because if some of you guys know, or some of you guys may not know, Hunter Metcalf did an interview right after this incident, and he admitted that he started talking to Karmelo, and he was like the one that
First.
started it, but Austin finished it. Now, when all
Facts.
the kids got on the stand, they were all given different versions of events, whether Hunter was involved or not. Most of them said Hunter was not involved. Most of them said that he said nothing. Most of them said he
Lies.
absolutely said nothing to Karmelo, absolutely wasn't involved. And then there was like a few that said, well, he reacted after the stabbing, or like one or two men said that Hunter said something to him first. But majority of them, none of their story matched Hunter, his own account of him saying that he said something to Karmelo. So in my opinion, that means that the students were liars. It's not like, and I've seen legal experts talking, and they were basically saying like, oh, it's completely normal for several people to have um, variation of the story because they experienced the event in a different way. And I get that. Like, there's certain things that you remember and certain things that you don't. But you're going to remember if Hunter said something to Karmelo first, no matter what version of it that you remember, you're going to remember, hey, one twin spoke and then the other one started speaking. Like,
Yeah, he said my
you're
brother
going to,
was
like,
defending
that's,
me.
like, you might, like, miss small details like the logo on the shirt, or, you know what I mean? But you know if somebody said something and then didn't. So let's go back. Somebody said, "Don't forget Paul." Paul, I gotta keep reading to see if he comes up in Eddie's testimony. He did come up in other people's testimony, but let's keep going. So they wanted to know if Hunter was a part of it, and this is when he said that Hunter was a part of it, and he was backing his brother Austin up. Hunter said, "You don't have nothing in there. Don't act like you got something in there," like Austin as well. So Eddie admits, because after all of the people who were saying Hunter wasn't involved, Eddie admitted that both Hunter and Austin were both saying something to Karmelo. Like, Hunter was saying, "You ain't got nothing in that bag," and so was Austin. He said, Austin was standing on, like, only because they wanted to know, like, okay, was Karmelo sitting down? Was he standing up? Were there other kids standing up? Was there like a group of kids around him? Like, they wanted to get him to explain what was going on. And they said only Austin was standing up. Says that nobody, they didn't crowd around or surround Melo. Just Austin and Hunter making comments before he had his hand in his bag. Thought it was just, they all thought it was just talk. Says he pulled out his phone but didn't record. So he says Hunter and Austin are both saying stuff to Karmelo. We didn't crowd around him, but none of us believed he really had nothing in the bag. While all of this stuff is escalating, he pulls out his phone to pretend like he's recording.
Right.
He gets out his phone and he's laughing and,
Yep.
you know,
They've
all
been
of
rehearsing
that.
for a year.
And he himself also is telling Karmelo that he ain't got nothing in the bag. He's pretending to record, etc. So it says, once Melo put his hand in the bag, they thought it was just talk. Says he put out his phone but didn't record. And then they was like, okay, so if you didn't record the fight, I mean, not like the push or whatever, why did you pull out your phone? He said that he did that because he thought it was funny. Can you imagine? Somebody that you have been kicking it with for the last few months, y'all done went on double dates with family members. You got pictures with his grandmother. You've been building relationships with the family. Y'all done went out to play basketball together. You've been in his room. Y'all played guitar. And then his sentiment is when people are coming at you sideways, that is funny. And to pull out his phone
So
and
it was
like,
sideways. So
like
people was
what?
coming out. Hold on.
So they then
So because he was talking about the football team being sorry, he was coming at him sideways. What part of whatever was happening was sideways? So I thought you invited him. Why did you move? If you wasn't kicking it with him, then why did you move Jose over so that you could sit next to Karmelo? So where did the sideways come in? Hey, Belinda. Good morning. Talking at him sideways. When? What did he say? See, they don't want to say what was reckless. They don't. So sideways. So he was talking really reckless per Hunter's confession. This is my confession. Yeah. And reckless and sideways. Ain't that pretty much the same depending on how you talk in your, and reckless, sideways. So when I hear he talking to me out sideways, that's still translating. He talking out the side of his neck. He talking, yeah, talking sideways. Interesting.
why did you pull out your phone? He said that he did that because he thought it was funny. Can you imagine? Somebody that you have been kicking it with for the last few months, y'all done went on double dates with family members. You got pictures with his grandmother. You've been building relationships with the family. Y'all done went out to play basketball together. You've been in his room. Y'all played guitar. And then his sentiment is when people are coming at you sideways, that is funny. And to pull out his phone and like, like what? So they then said he thought it was funny. And then they're like, okay, so what happened next? He said Austin falls and Hunter went straight to him. Then Austin pulled up his shirt and he saw the hole. I went to help Austin get up, then ran to get Coach Lou. Then ran back where it happened. He saw Coach take off his sweatshirt. Coaches was pulling him back after he tried to jump the bleachers. He saw Melo run down. The bleachers would, he said he was angry with Melo. Coach said, you said that was my brother. That was my brother. Was that you? So basically what they were asking him was, in the body cam footage, you can hear a kid say, that was my brother, that was my brother. But you couldn't really, like, he flashed across the screen. And they were asking if that was him in the video saying that. And they said, yes, sir. He's talking about Austin. They had him on the ground, so we don't try and get, they had Eddie on the ground so that he didn't try and get up.
They had
Then
Eddie on the
afterwards, they
ground.
walked him and Hunter to the paramedics. After that, then cops came and asked him questions. Hunter and him went to the same locker room. There, he talked to a police officer. The officer went through his phone to check his phone, and only since so the officer went through his phone, and then they're like, so what did you send? Like, what was in your phone? And then he said that he only sent a Snapchat after to Alyssa. So he didn't record, but around that same time, he only sent a Snapchat to Alyssa. Now, it was Alyssa phone checked, they didn't even do a thorough check on his phone, so you know that they ain't check Alyssa's phone to see what
Right.
was sent to her.
Wow.
Anyway, so they wanted to know, blah, blah, blah. He said, I said Austin got stabbed. That's what he claims that he sent to Alyssa. And then they wanted to know, like, isn't it weird, like, that he had a weapon? He said, no one thought he had a weapon. Eddie said that he called his bluff. And Eddie also, okay, so mind you, Eddie is saying Hunter is telling Karmelo he ain't got nothing in his bag. And Austin was also telling Karmelo he ain't got nothing in his bag when he put his hand in his bag. Eddie said that he also joined in on that, and he said that sarcastically he was saying, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, until the fact of him, Karmelo, having something in his bag. So I said he egged the whole thing on. I said Eddie was the true instigator. So that's like the note that I wrote as I was listening to his testimony. I'm like, even though Austin said something first, him not saying anything, him knowing that that was his friend, and Karmelo being betrayed by him in that way, and them coming at him like that all in that time, I said he was the one that rose the temperature. Because if I'm going to somebody that I think is cool, and you turn on me, and I done been in your house, I done like chill with your family, I'm taking pictures with your grandmother, I'm dating your cousin, we never had a falling out, we never had no issues. That also raises the temperature. Like nobody brung that out in the case, but I feel like that's something that I would have wanted the lawyer to explore. But that's my thinking. Like, how much rage would you have? It's like Austin's coming at me sideways. This bitch ass nigga ain't saying shit, and he knows that I came over here to dap him up, and he ain't saying not one word. And instead, he's actually joining in on them coming at me. And while Carmelo's Anthony's hand is in his bag, Eddie's like, oh yeah, like sarcastically, like you ain't really got nothing. So it's like, how can Karmelo be provoking them if Eddie is joining in on saying he ain't got nothing in the bag, calling his bluff, as Eddie said? Austin's calling his bluff, and there was other students that also were joining in on it. Other students have said exactly how many of them, but it was about, I would have to count. It was a lot of them. And so he wanted to know who was in the wrong that day. That's what the prosecution wanted to know, like who was in the wrong that day. And he said that Mello was in the wrong that day. And then they wanted to know, well, was it self-defense? And he said no. And then they said, wasn't it like plain and simple murder? And he said, yes, sir.
Oh,
So
wow.
then it went to
It was
the
his fault
defense,
because he was
and it
talking
was their turn
football.
for cross-examination. And he said, you interviewed with Detective Riley? He said, yes. He said, in the interview he had, it was the day of the incident. And they wanted to know, like, how do you know Valeria, which is Carmelo's girlfriend? And then he says his mom and Carmelo's girlfriend's mom are close friends.
At one
And he
point, he
called
said,
Carmelo's girlfriend his
What I
cousin.
remember him saying, he when first asked about her, Eddie said that's his ex girlfriend, and I remember thinking, ex ex. So are you trying to get back at him for his girlfriend, your friend? Why would you why they calling him his girlfriend? He made it a point to say ex girlfriend.
And then he said before this, he saw Mello 2 or 3 times through the whole relationship with Valeria. So they're like, what? Like, bring us back to April 2nd at the track meet. What did you hear Carmelo say? He said he heard Melo make comments about them in football and said, y'all are bad, y'all are terrible. And they were like, well, like, what was his tone like? How did he say it? He said he didn't say it loud, but he said, y'all are bad, y'all are ass. And then it says, who was he talking to when he said that? And then he says he wasn't talking to anyone. He just said it out the blue. And then so they were like, all right, so when you got there, what was Melo doing? Like, was he sitting down? And then he said Melo was already sitting down before he got there. Um, and so he tried to make it seem like before he got into the tent, Melo was already in the tent. However, other students testified that they were sitting next to Eddie, and when Carmelo came to sit down, they switched seats with another student so that Eddie could get closer to sit with Carmelo. However, Eddie tried to testify that he got to the tent after Carmelo was already there. You know, just lying. So, they said, so you don't remember switching seats to sit next to him? And then he said, well, it was a far gap between them. And so they like, then what happened? He said, I noticed him after the insults and dapped him up. So he's saying Carmelo was talking shit about their football team and saying, y'all are ass, y'all are bad, y'all are terrible, or something of that effect. And then after Carmelo said that, he noticed him and he went to go dap him up. And then so they're like, he said he only talked to him with him and Valeria would hang out. Or she was with him and asked me to come with them. It only happened 2 to 3 times before. So after that, we went on a lunch break. And then after we came back, they said, so about these 2 to 3 times that you say that you talked to Carmelo. They said, do you remember, they kind of like brung him back, like, let's establish a timeline here. Okay, like, let's establish a timeline of when you guys met and all of the times y'all met. So he said, um, December 9th, 2023, you exchanged numbers with Melo, right? And you text him and said, good to meet you. Don't treat my cousin wrong. Then you text Melo on December 18th and said, we should go on a 2-man with a girl he was dating at the time. So they wanted to know, like, what's a 2-man? Like, that's when you go, like, on a double date. And he was saying, yeah, like, you know, they went on a 2-man, you know, which basically was Carmelo and his girl, that was Eddie's play cousin, and Eddie and his girl. Like, they went on a double date. So, he said, all right, so on December 19th, y'all decided to go on a 2-man, or you asked to go on a 2-man, and then wasn't there a party for Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend's mom at your house? So they said, or no, there was a party for Valeria's 50th her mother's 50th birthday, and didn't you and Melo hang out? He said, yeah, we were both there. So then they showed pictures from the party. And in the party, it was his family at the party. And then you saw Melo and Valeria's mom. And then they showed a picture. And then Valeria's mom was like real cozy with Carmelo. Like, you could tell that the family like really embraced him. And so then they showed a picture of him and Melo in his room, making kissy faces. So he was like, Eddie was sitting in a chair or whatever, and he was going, and then Carmelo was sitting like next to him, and they both were making like kissy faces to the camera, like being goofy, like doing something like that. Then they showed a picture of a time where Eddie invited him, or he was invited to go play basketball with them. So it says after the party, he invited Melo to come play basketball. And then they wanted to know about that. Like, so you like invited him to go play basketball? Like, what's tea? He said it was a family thing. I just asked if he was going because Valeria's dad was going to be there. So he was basically saying like, oh, I wasn't really trying to invite him like that. Like, Valeria daddy was gonna be there, so I just asked if he was gonna be there. That's basically what he said. And then they showed the picture where it was all of the family, and then Karmelo was like included, and they were like on a basketball court. And in the picture, it was Eddie, it was Karmelo, it was Valerian's father, it was like all of like like all of the men, like it was a huge thing. So I wrote a note and I said, the family looks Asian or Filipino. I couldn't really get a read on like what their race was, but their race was like they were not Samoans because Samoans normally are a little bit, not to stereotype, but they're a little bit like bigger, like and broader. But they didn't look like regular Asian. They looked like, I don't know. I'm like, is this Filipino, Pacific Islander? I don't know. It wasn't like, they had a unique Asian look. It wasn't like regular. Like it was like Filipino, or it was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to guess. It was something in that family. So, anyways, so it was a picture of them playing basketball with Melo and the family. So, and then he said after that they hung out every now and then. Also went to a soccer game together. So him and Carmelo played basketball together. They were in his room goofing around making kissy faces. They were and the picture of the kissy faces, they're not like making kissy faces at each other. They're making, Cambodian might be it. They might be Cambodian. I don't know, they might be. But it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like, anyways, like what is regular Asian, right? Like, y'all get what I'm talking about. Like, it wasn't like Chinese or Japanese. It was like Southeast. Anyways, enough of that. So, they said like, okay, so didn't y'all like, y'all hung out at a soccer game too? You know, they would hang every now and then, and they went to a soccer game together. So then you like, okay, well, what about January 5th? Didn't you and Mello hang out on January 5th too? He said that Mello came to his house for a backyard camp out. And then he don't remember. So the defense is like, didn't Mello come to your house on January 5th and y'all did roasted marshmallows together in the backyard? I don't remember that. So then he showed photos of the backyard where they were roasting marshmallows. He showed a picture of Carmelo and Valeria hugged up. So they put a picture, they showed him, and it was a picture of Carmelo and Valeria hugged up. And then now suddenly he remembered this situation where they were roasting marshmallows together. And then I said, then they had a picture of them like actually roasting the marshmallows. So like everybody that was like around the campfire, they all put their sticks in, and it was like a bunch of sticks around, like, you know, with their marshmallows at the tip, like roasting marshmallows. That was kind of like what the picture was. And then they were like, so what about, okay, so you met him on, you know, like, I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, okay, so how many times have they crossed paths? He exchanged phone numbers with him on December 9th. December 18th, he asked to go on a 2-man. December 27th, he's hanging out with, at a party with Valeria's mom. Then they showed the pictures of him and making a kissy face. I don't know if this was a separate occasion, the kissy face photo, so I won't count that one. So then they had a time where they was playing basketball together. Then they went to a soccer game together. Then on January 5th, Melo came to his house for a backyard campout. Then late January 2024, his Eddie's grandmother had like a party for Valeria at his house. And then we're just gonna keep going on. I'm tired of like counting fingers here. So that was late January. Then they showed a picture, and it was Eddie's grandmother, Valeria, Mello, and then next to Valeria's mom was Karmelo in the picture, and I put at Eddie's house. Then on February 4th, they hung out again. So there was a disco party at Eddie's house, and everybody was in 70s disco theme. Karmelo, Eddie, all of them were in a group photo of them wearing like disco 70s stuff. So I put then after the disco, then that's when they showed the photo of Mello and him goofing around in his room. And Mello was playing a guitar, and Eddie was just like, they were like rocking out in pictures together. Then they were like, it's fair to say you knew Karmelo more than 2 to 3 times, right? And then he said, well, only like I only know about when Valeria and my family hung out. But wasn't you guys hanging out a couple times a month? He said, yeah. Like, so they wanted to know more about them knowing each other. And then he says, I knew him, but not personally knew him. And then he said, so like, it would be no surprise that he would dap you up, right? And then he says, I mean, we were cool with each other. That's what we would do. Then they wanted to know about the track meet and said, didn't you see Karmelo 10 days before this at another track meet? And then didn't you and Karmelo 10 days prior to the memorial incident, weren't you guys sitting together on the bleachers hanging out? I mean, on the, they weren't on the bleachers, they were on a bench together hanging out. And then he says, they were sitting, what is he? So then they showed a picture of him and Eddie at the track meet where him and Mello was sitting together on a bench talking. Mello was in his gray clothing for his like school colors, and Eddie was in yellow school colors. So you can see 2 boys had on gray to signal, like, I guess that's their school colors. And then it was like 2 boys, Eddie and another boy or whatever, they had on like their, like he had on yellow, like their track. And then they were all sitting on the bench together like this, like hanging out, like chilling. So he said, going back to April 2nd, you told Officer Riley you were sitting next to him. On this occasion, he insulted your team. Then you got up and dapped him up. Did you? So he's like, okay. So did you ever tell anyone you knew him? He said, I don't think so, no. So you didn't think to step up and tell people that you knew him? He said, no. When people asked who he was, you didn't feel the need to tell them who he was? He said, didn't feel the need to straighten it out, like didn't feel the need to straighten out the disagreement. And then they said, okay, so what did Karmelo say to Austin? He said, Melo called Austin a bitch, and Austin called Melo a bitch. And then he said, yeah. So it says, Karmelo said, show me I'm a bitch, after Austin called him a bitch. They both were getting angry at that time. After the bitch comment is when he put his hands in his bag. While they were calling each other bitch, is when he got his phone out and pretended he recorded. So, okay, so Austin is calling Karmelo a bitch. Carmelo's calling him a bitch. And he's saying, Karmelo is saying, basically, let's see. He got his phone out to pretend like he was recording. And so they're like, why pretend to make a video? He said, I was trying to be funny. Well, do you remember another student who asked if you got a picture? Because I guess while they were going to the bus or after the aftermath, another student wanted to know, like, hey, did you get a picture of it? Because he was acting like he was recording. And then he says, yeah, they like asked me if they can get a picture, but my phone was never on. He said, but if you were actually recording, then we would hear everything that was going on. He said, he didn't remember saying Austin knocked him back when he got like up. So I guess there was supposed to have been like when Austin was getting into it with him, he knocked Eddie back. He said he don't remember that. So he said, let us know how this like shove kind of went. Like he wanted him to demonstrate what kind of shove it was or whatever. And then he said everything happened in a split second. So, okay, so when you were acting like you were recording and you showed your phone to the officer,
That's
did the
where
officer download your phone, like do a download?
within the
And then Eddie
so-called
said he just looked at it in front of
hotline.
me and gave it back. And then they said, but he didn't look through Instagram. I was like, what? So after that, he was done testifying, and they said that he was subject to recall. So that was his whole interaction. I know a lot of people wanted to know what Eddie Parra said, what he did, boop, 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 boop. So that was Eddie Parr. Now let me go back and read to you guys another one of the boys' testimony. Now, this next witness, he came before Eddie, but now let's get into it. It says, da 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 da. I wrote that he's a 17-year-old black kid. He goes to Memorial High School, class of 2027. He's a wide receiver in football and plays track. His coach is Coach Starr. And they got to the stadium that morning by bus. They got searched before going in. So he's saying like they got searched before going in. And then he says the weather was not bad at arrival, but at the end, he was in the tent when this happened. He was looking out to find someone to talk to. He looked back and saw someone he didn't recognize. So he asked his teammates if they knew the guy. Usually, if you are a student or guest, you have to be on the other side of the. And I couldn't hear what he said. And then he said, Mello was far back, too. I identified him first. He had walked down to get ready for his event. And he looked back up, and that's where he saw the commotion. He saw Austin place his hand on Karmelo's shoulder and turn and hear yelling from Austin and Hunter. Austin yelled, he stabbed me. And Hunter said he got stabbed. Prior, when he was walking down, he heard them not quite arguing, but something was going to build up. It says, saw Mello before at a different track meet. When he walked past him, he was trying to make him come to do something like, come on, his shoulder. From his distance, he placed his hand firm. Austin motioned first, then Mello responds. You don't expect someone to get stabbed at a track meet or school. So they were like, what do you think about somebody getting stabbed? Da, da, da. He said he wouldn't expect somebody to get stabbed at a track meet. And then he said, da, 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 da. So he said he found Mello to be suspicious because he didn't have on school gear and his hands in his pocket. After the stabbing, he runs up the bleachers and saw Hunter try and get him. Um, he said he saw Mello run to the right of the stadium when Austin got stabbed. He removed his clothing and he saw the cut. So he was in a panic because he didn't know if he would do it to someone else. Hunter went to the he went to chase Mello, then went to his brother. Says during it he didn't want to hear um, Hunter speak. Says nobody surrounded or crowded Mello before the stabbing. Since all of this, he has done some counseling. Says that Mello hit him first. Says Mello wasn't acting in self-defense because threats lethal force versus non-lethal. So then they went back to the defense and asked him about his statement to the police. The boy said they walked over to the other um, building to do an interview with cops. So they wanted to know what everybody was doing. Um, anyway, so let's see, where was I at? Oh man, I don't know where was that. Okay, so then it went to the defense. They wanted to know about his statement that he left to the police. The boy said they got on the bus, then walked over to the other building to do an interview with the cops. So they wanted to know if he saw when Mello arrived. He said he didn't see Mello arrive. He told the detective Mello was gone in their tent. All right, so then they took his police station to him and had him read it. He said, saw him at the bottom of his tent before to say hi to someone. Must have possibly been a time or before that at another track meet. He tried to have a convo with someone, but it wasn't working. It was either Eddie or Andy. He said that Eddie was shaking his head and not looking his way, but holding up and down. Most likely saw him 10 days before. Let's see. Okay, so he told the detective Hunter popped in to defend Austin during an argument, and then he told the detectives, I see Austin put his hands on his shoulder not to intimidate him. Then he told the defense that it was more of a warning to show actions are louder than words. So that is the testimony of a 17-year-old black kid and the testimony of Eddie Hara. You guys let me know what you think about it. I'll read through the rest of them at another date. So this one I filled up the notepad front, like on the one page, one side. So I'm gonna be getting me some sleep. I can feel myself getting tired, but I know people were interested in what Eddie had to say specifically. Um, y'all know, or maybe you don't, but Neek at Night Media is my cash app. If anybody wants to donate, enjoy the content, etc. Other than that, I'll talk to y'all later.
Y'all have a good night. Go to sleep. I'm sleep. Bye.